Hello and welcome to VCC TV. This is Joseph Rai. America has decided, and the pollsters have been proved wrong once again after the big Brexit prediction fiasco. Yes, Donald J. Trump has been elected as the 45th president of the US. And to talk about this and its implications on India, we have with us Aman Malik, Senior Assistant Editor.
Hi,
Aman.
Hi.
So the global market saw a rout after results started showing that Donald Trump is leading.
That's correct.
So do you think the trend will continue so going forward, given the way Trump struck a conciliatory note after he came and spoken of the first time?
Look, the trend I think is likely to continue for a little while. The reason is that unlike Hillary Clinton, as we even discussed the other day yesterday, Trump's business policies, Trump's policies towards industry and trade, global trade in general, and even within America, he has said a lot of things, but there's no coherent policy structure. Had Secretary Clinton been elected to the office, it would have been a continuation largely of Obama's policy, because she's from the same party and she was his Secretary of State as well. So, there is this fear of the big unknown as to what Trump might end up doing, and he has made some radical statements in the past, especially in relation to countries like India and China, who he essentially accuses of stealing jobs, US jobs, etc.
Right. Okay, so India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted saying that you'd like to work closely with Trump going forward. So how do you see India and the US's relationship shaping up?
That's a very good question. You see, actually, there are two aspects to it. If you look at it politically and from a security standpoint, I think Trump is good news for India. Okay. He may not be very good news for his own people, but he has been hard on terrorism, number one. He has been hard on Islamic fundamentalism. Nothing to do with religion per se, but he has essentially said that he will go after forces like ISIS, Al-Qaeda, etc., which the US has anyway been doing. He has also been hard on Pakistan, which has been a perennial problem insofar as India is concerned. And to that extent, it is a good thing for India. Having said that, within the security sphere itself, it may also sort of translate into the US intervention in Afghanistan and in the Gulf actually going down, and the US becoming slightly more inward looking in various ways. Now, if that happens, that is problem for India, or trouble for India, because that would mean that there could be political uncertainty in those areas.
When Gartner came out to report that an IT would see troubled times going ahead.
That's correct.
And pharmaceuticals has a huge exposure in the US. So what are the things that need to be addressed now that these industries continue to do well? Look,
Trump has been very explicit in saying that he could rework the H-1B visa scheme. Now, if that is actually reworked to the detriment of IT workers from India, that's a major problem. Practically all of your IT sector that runs out of Bangalore and Hyderabad and cities like that, and even Mumbai, is basically it hinges on the H-1B visa regime, number one. Number two, he has said that he quote unquote wants to get those jobs back that he claims that India and China and countries like that, the emerging markets, have stolen, as he says, from the US citizens. Now, if he were to have these protectionist sort of measures, that could actually mean terrible news for companies, say like TCS, Wipro, Infosys, etc., because their revenue dependence on the US, for instance, TCS, if I'm not wrong, more than half their revenues come from India. And TCS is India's largest company and the largest company in the Tata Group, for instance. As it is, as we know, there's trouble in the Tata Group. So these could be problematic times ahead. Having said that, like I said in response to your first question, realpolitik is very different from election rhetoric. At the end of the day, they also need to get their work done. They also need cheaper labor, which is what Indians frankly provide. While being cheap, Indian labor is also skilled, far more skilled than a lot of their own people. Therefore, can they really do away with the Indian workers? Not really. But can they put immigration curbs like the UK is about to do? Yes, they can. So there'll be this tug of war that will keep going on. But then it'll essentially be for the likes of Mr. Modi to manage this diplomatically and to find a way out.
Thank you so much for that, Aman, and thank you so much for watching us.